Senior Bowl practice started today, but hey, the Senior Bowl ain't the only all-star bowl in the draft process, because we also have had the Shrine. They started late last week, and I'm here to get you caught up to date on some of the top performers from the Shrine, starting with Malik Washington out of Virginia. He came in at 5'8", 192, so you're like, yeah, he's probably a slot only, but he has been the best wide receiver down there, in all honesty. There's like multiple clips of just him demolishing corners. There was this one where he was on like the C route up against I think it was West Virginia's Beanie Bishop, and he had to adjust to like an underthrow and just like showed really good body control, was able to turn around and make this back leaping catch. It was just a thing of beauty. He has been very smooth through some of the other drills there. I'm very curious what his athletic testing will look like compared to like a Roman Wilson, who I also believe is kind of a primarily a slot in the NFL. But man, Washington was probably one of the biggest performers there. But let's jump to the defensive side of the ball with Christian Boyd out of Northern Iowa. I can't wait to get my hands on some Northern Iowa tape, because this is honestly my first look at Boyd, and I'm like, hot diggity dog. This man is good. Great first step. He has just been violent. He had multiple wins on Michigan's, was it Trent Jones? I think it was Trent Jones. And that's a Power 5 from the national champion. And he did that to him. Like, Boyd has just been great. Coming in at 6'2", 320 pounds. Metrics look good. I mean, the length, 31.5-inch arms, it's a little short, but it didn't stop him from wreaking havoc. He was very productive at Northern Iowa, at least in terms of his stats. 24 defensive stops, 30 pressures, 3 sacks. Can't wait to get me some tape on him. He's just been, wow, one of the best defensive linemen there, especially on the interior. But jumping back to the offensive side of the ball, gotta give a shout out to Mason McCormick, man. He has been the best offensive lineman down there, not named Christian Mahogany. And Mahogany's not going to be on this list. He was one of my top prospects there at the Shrine. I'm not surprised by his performance. He utterly dominated. I wanted to highlight maybe some guys that I haven't really talked about in my ranking videos, or maybe even through the course of the season. But Mason McCormick was really, really nice. He showed the power. He showed quick feet. Like, I really like this guy maybe in a inside zone or a vertical blocking scheme. But golly, man, he came with the power, and it was just a big week for him. This past year at South Dakota State, only allowed 2 pressures, no sacks. He's been a long-time starter there, 6'4", 310. And like, honestly made himself some money and just further solidifies how good this offensive line class is, because it is utterly nuts how good this class is. This isn't even the last offensive lineman we're going to be talking about on this list. But I want to talk about one more receiver in Cornelius Johnson out of Michigan. Didn't really get a chance to be showcased there at Michigan, because hey, we know what Michigan was about. They were a run-heavy team. So like, his stats aren't all that impressive, but he coming in at 6'2", 213, so he's more of a bigger receiver. Golly, he has such a good release package. And I mean, there was a couple of times that, like, I think it was Ro Torrance, the Arizona State corner, was great size, but kind of a rough week there at the Shrine. But like, he was just able to like use his build and actually use his feet to get a clean get off on the line of scrimmage, and just was able to just use that quick feet at the top of his routes. And I mean, you saw it in like slants, you saw it on a whip route when they were doing red zone drills, where I think he ended up getting the touchdown there. So like, I think he ends up being a big riser, guy that I had on my watch list, but never really got around back to watching. Because I mean, again, at Michigan, he didn't do a ton. Again, 600 yards, not like something you're looking for when talking about a day 2 pick. So I think he's probably mid-day 3. I mean, if you're looking for these bigger receivers, I mean, he's going to be up there with like Marcus Roseme, Jack Saint, who had an all right day actually at the Senior Bowl. But let's keep the shucker moving. Going to the defensive side of the football was Xavier Thomas. Now, the first day where they did all the measurements, not kind to Xavier Thomas. I want to just mention that. 6'1", 244. I'm like, oh, wow, man. For a Clemson edge, he's a lot more undersized than I thought he'd be. And he never felt it on the field. But then also came in with 32 and 3/4 inch arms and smaller hands. I was like, oh, man. Golly, dude, the measurements weren't nice to him. But then they got into the one-on-ones, and he was unstoppable. Like, he absolutely demolished, I think it was Caden Wallace from Penn State, with a variety, because it was like multiple times, with a variety of different pass rush moves. Like, I don't think I've ever really seen like a ghost long arm move like that, and just how fluid, how quick it was. Like, again, man, it was just sick, nasty, and I know he definitely beat. I know this one was definitely Caden Wallace, where he just beat him with a nasty inside move, and it was just a great day for him. An older prospect who had some ups and downs because of injuries, just things kind of not going his way there at Clemson. But I mean, the talent was never really a big question mark. It was like, can he stay on the field? So yeah, I think he ends up being a big riser. I did have a 5th round grade going in. I think he could sneak into that late day 2 range. We're gonna again, I mean, a lot of that's gonna depend on some of the performances at the Senior Bowl, but I think I want to stick with the edge position with Yabi Oki out of Charlotte. If you're unfamiliar with this cat, it's no surprise that he's having a great week. He's a former 5-star recruit, was initially at Alabama, ended up getting dismissed, transfers to Houston, has to sit here, but then he gets dismissed from there. And then he goes to Tennessee Martin, where he actually just ends up mollywhopping fools. Because it's like, yeah, this is a 5-star recruit at Tennessee Martin. Who would have thought? He goes to Michigan, was really just a rotation guy last season, and then he follows his Michigan's former associate head coach, and it was actually his former high school coach, to Charlotte, where he has a good year. He ended up making second team all ACC. So it's no surprise that he actually had a really good week. 6'4", 253. Another guy that ended up not having ideal length, which kind of shocked me, but he was like literally 1/8 of an inch under 33-inch arm. So he barely misses that threshold. So I'm not too worried about it. Just again, with just the performance, man, it was Mamma Mia good. I had him again because you get concerned about some of the character stuff, but a lot of that was in the past. But I had a priority free agent grade on him. But I mean, yeah, you gotta take a shot like on day 3 on this type of guy, maybe mid to late day 3. I don't know. I don't really see him getting him to that 4th round area, but you get to that 5th, 6th, 7th round. Yeah, it's like, yeah, give me a guy with this pedigree, this type of upside. I mean, he was quick, he was powerful, and I mean, I will say, like, some of his more complex, I guess, moves or approaches kind of fizzled out, but the traits are just so nasty when it comes to him. And I could see him being a big impact early on as a deep PR. But if you want to know more about these prospects, I'm so eager to talk about it. I smacked my mic. Then good news for you. I have a draft guide. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals, and guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. Moving to the secondary with a little DTD coming out of Texas Tech, 5'10", 189. Good measurements as well, and he's having a heck of a week. He is flying all over the place. And he even had a pick 6 on Keaton Slovis, who Slovis not having the best week down there. Let's just say that. But man, no, he has been great. He mainly played deep for Texas Tech, but he also played a great deal in the slot, so he gives you a little bit of versatility there. And I mean, 4 interceptions. It was nice that he came in this week and you saw some of the playmaking ability. So, oh man, in a safety class that needed a little bit of oomph, I'm glad he came in here and was like, I can be the oomph. All right, we got Quantez Stiggers out of Toronto. He was in the CFL. But he's having a really good week as well among really any of the corners that really kind of stuck out. Not a lot of them did, but he certainly played the part. I mean, he came in with plus measurements. You'll love to see it. And he's just been sticky, man. Not a lot of losses. And he's been asked to play a lot of press. Has done a great job at just playing and staying in phase with wide receivers. And he's been doing that against speedsters as well. I really like that, man. I don't know if I can get my hands on CFL All 22. I'm sure it exists. I just don't know how I'm going to do it. But I mean, the guy was Rookie of the Year last year in the CFL. So he's got to be good, right? He's got to be good. If you're unfamiliar with his story, we could talk about that a little bit. But he was formerly a 0-star recruit from the 2020 class, but did manage to get a scholarship from Lane College. However, he ends up dropping out despite being on scholarship after his father was in a car accident earlier that year, eventually passed away. And it took a toll on him. So like having to deal with that type of tragedy, and eventually he didn't play football in 2020 or 2021, and he ends up playing in the fan-controlled football league, where he led the league in interceptions, and the OC for Toronto, the CFL team, actually suggested that he try out for the CFL. So he ends up making the Argonauts and became a regular starter real quick, and again ended up winning Rookie of the Year. But since like straight out of high school, didn't really do anything college-wise, and makes him eligible for the draft, which is kind of wonky. It's kind of nuts. And this is honestly a great get. Like props to the Shrine Bowl for snagging this guy, bringing him in. I guess there was like 25 or so NFL teams that were like, hey, can you bring this cat in? Because I think he's kind of legit, and he is eligible. So I don't know. It's a real cool story, man. It's really, really cool. But moving back to the offensive side of the football, I got KT Leviston out of Kansas State. Another one of these, he was playing tackle. He played left tackle for Kansas State, but going to be a guard in the NFL, coming in at 6'3", 337. Though he's got 34.25-inch arms, so it makes you wonder. But no. His place is guard. The guy faced a lot of 3-man fronts in the Big 12. His place is guard, which is wild, man. It's interesting with those Kansas State, like him, Cooper Beebe. It's not like their tapes like wows you. It's just they go in, they get it done, and to be fair, they don't face they don't feel challenged. And it was kind of the same for some of Leviston's tape, which I'm just currently digging into. But he's been phenomenal at the Shrine. Like, he really, really has, man. He's showcased really good strength at the point of attack, the ability to just set down and anchor well. So, yeah, man. We have more good offensive line talent in this already kind of studded offensive line class. So I walked away really happy about that. I really did. Let's talk about a running back. What? Tyrone Tracy Jr. out of Purdue. Coming in at 5'11", 209. And it honestly, why I put him on this list is because he was going to make my list for the Hula Bowl, right? And I'll talk about some of the top performers at the Hula Bowl and the Tropical Bowl at the end of the video, just because there's not a ton. But Tracy had a great game. I think he had 8 carries for 40 yards. He had a couple of receptions and just had a really good game, and ends up getting a Shrine Bowl invitation. And I was like, heck yeah, dude. Because already I kind of made up my mind. I was like, man, this guy's analytics are really good. Like, he's got return ability. He had 428 return yards this past year. He's been a really good pass blocker. And yards after contact, 4.44. There we go. I was going to say 44. But regardless, like, that's really good. If you're above 4 yards after contact in terms of average, that's kind of nutty. And I was like, man, why haven't I heard about this guy? And I was looking, like, this cat did not, and I repeat, was not given like carries until this year. I was going back and looking, the most carries he had in any given season was last year was 17. He had 4 years at Iowa where his combined total carries were 17 over a 4-year career. So yeah, you might be a little worried. Why didn't this guy see the field any sooner? I don't know, but he produced really well this year. He looked really good in the Hula, and I look forward to watching him Thursday night in the Shrine Bowl game, because that's when you're really going to be able to like take notice and take note of running backs. Like, the drills ain't going to tell you nothing. Athleticism's going to shine in that. You want to see him in a real game scenario and situation, and we're going to get that a little bit later, but he already performed really well in the Hula, so I'm actually very excited. Golly. But real quick, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who were some of your top performers at the Shrine? Because I'm about to dig into the Hula Bowl. So let's go ahead and do that, sucker, with Brian Hudson out of Louisville, playing center there. Only allowed 14 pressures and 1 sack this past season, coming in at 6'5", 305. Easily the best offensive lineman there. Like, hands down. There were other guys there, like Matthew Jones from Ohio State. They had Jarrett Kingston out of USC, who I actually used to like after when he was at Washington State, but just wasn't wildly good at USC. Clark Barrington out of Baylor. Like, they had some guys there, but it was Hudson that really stood out, man. Like, during the one-on-ones, like, he was able to play multiple spots, and he just showed a really good first step in run drills. He displayed a good anchor and just good strength at the point of attack, and he just ended up being the guy that I wanted to go back and watch compared to some of the other guys. To be fair, I've already watched guys like Matthew Jones, Kingston, and Barrington, but yeah, no, I think he ended up being the big money winner coming out of that game. But going to the defensive side of the ball, at the part of the ball at the Hula Bowl, is Judge Culpepper out of Toledo, and I was like, man, Toledo have like a good defense this year. I know they were all right, but I know they got in some shootouts, but dude was good, man. Like, he is sub 300 at 293. I'm not too mad about that, but he has the space on his frame to add more mass, and he just played consistently with a hot motor. He grinded out reps, and he just showed really good athleticism, and like someone that I'm like, okay, I want to go back and watch. And I was looking a little bit into him, and I was like, he was initially recruited by Penn State. There's a pedigree. So yeah, no, he ended up being someone that really impressed me on the defensive side of the football. But let's talk about the secondary, because Storm Duck, a name I haven't talked about in, it feels like, years. Out of Louisville, coming in at 6'1", 200 pounds, played hella good or just had really good practices, was really good in the one-on-ones. And I was like, I'm like watching this and I'm like, where was this Storm Duck the last 2 years? I feel like he hasn't been good since like 2020 North Carolina. Keep in mind, I think he was hurt in 2021, 2022. He had a really bad year. I think he gave up like 3 touchdowns in that Appalachian State wild game that they had. He goes to Louisville and he wasn't even like the full-time starter because they had Jarvis Brownlee and Quincy Riley, who is actually returning back to Louisville. So like he didn't get a good chance to like really start many games. But I'm like, I mean, I don't know what this guy can do. Like, I don't think he can make himself draftable again because the tape is the tape, you know. Even a strong combine or pro day, depending on whatever, if he get wherever he gets invited to. I mean, he's gonna have a pro day regardless, but I don't know if he'll get invited to the combine. Even with like a strong performance there, I don't know if it's enough to make him a draftable prospect. But I mean, he's gonna be in a camp. He was just very, very impressive at the Hula Bowl. Definitely one of the top guys there. And then jumping to the Tropical Bowl, there's only really one guy I want to talk about, and it's Del Pettis out of Troy. I was really wowed by him. And I was like, oh man, I'm so happy I get to go back and watch some Troy. Because I don't mind watching, you know, Javon Solomon, Richard Jubinor. But dude was everywhere during the team drills. And he just plays with his hair on fire. And this is a safety class in desperate need of not just talent, but depth. It really is. Because, like, as it stands right now, I got, like, only 15 players with really draftable grades. Granted, there's a couple I need to go back and look at. I don't know if you want to include some of the slot corners in here. Maybe it's 20. But even then, man, it desperately needs depth. And Dell's going to be a guy I'm going to go back and look at because he's coming in at a good size, 6 foot, 205. And the analytics are actually pretty solid for him. He had 4 pass breakups this past season. He was a consistent tackler, 8.6 missed tackle rate. To be fair, like there were a couple of guys in the secondary that kind of stuck out at the Tropical Bowl. I just feel like a lot of them are slots. Like you had the Tulane slot, Cam. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. And then you had another Purdue guy, actually, Cam Allen, who I thought was really solid. And no lie, you go back and look, kind of had a great year. Like 7 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. But yeah, that's it for the video. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm going to have a Senior Bowl video for day 1 up tomorrow morning for y'all. So be on the look for that. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.